Broken Neck Radio. This is DJ Zang here. I have on the line with me, I have the frontman, the vocalist, the voice behind the band Warbeast, Mr. Bruce Corbitt. How are you doing, Bruce?
Hey, I'm doing good, Stan, man. It's good to talk to you.
Yes, thanks. Thanks again for taking this time for us to get to know you a little bit better. I know a lot of our listeners have submitted some questions in and wanted me to ask these for you, and we do appreciate you taking the time, not only giving us the music you're allowing us to purchase and listen. We appreciate that, but also taking this time as well. We do appreciate it, and thank you.
No problem, man. My pleasure.
But we'll head straight in here. First question I got is, what age did you first get hooked on heavy metal?
Oh, well, it was kind of, I'm about to be 50, so I go way back growing up, in the 70s and everything. And, what they called heavy metal for us then is not, really considered heavy metal anymore. Of course, the early bands like Sabbath and maybe Alice Cooper and stuff. But, I saw Judas Priest come through when I was like 15. It was their first tour in the U.S., so that was really, I guess, the first real metal band I was ever exposed to. So I'd say 78, I started getting into Priest, and then just fell into place after that as we got into the 80s and Motorhead and Venom, and then Maiden and the new wave of British metal and all that came out,
Mm-hmm. Now, if we were to look into your personal music library, what bands would we mostly find? Is there any non-metal bands?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I'm pretty old. I grew up on the Beatles, as a kid because my brother was old enough to be alive during the Beatlemania phase, and that was the first records I was exposed to. So I still listen to the Beatles, and then now, like I said, the 70s band, even though they were in heavy metal magazines back then, now they're kind of just classic rock. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about all the bands like Aerosmith and Ted Nugent and Thin Lizzy and UFO and Lynyrd Skynyrd and Foghat, just everything that was going on there in the mid to late 70s. Mm-hmm. And I still love listening to those bands just because they, an important part of my life as a teenager and everything. I can bring back good memories and stuff. But other than that, I don't like listening to anything like rap or country or hip-hop or anything,
Now, when you guys are writing music and lyrics, where do you and the guys draw your ideas and influences from?
Well, usually our guitarist, Scott Shelby, he wrote all the songs for the new album. He just comes up with the basic blueprint for the song, and then I get a copy of it once you kind of got some drum beats or drum tracks to it. And then it's just, I have to come up with a subject to write about. A lot of times I just listen to the music and maybe it gives me a vibe or a theme that it sounds like. So a couple of times there was a song that like, hey, that kind of reminds me of gargoyles, or this one reminds me of werewolves, or stuff like that. And once I come up with the basic theme that I want to write about, then I just take it from there,
Now, statistically speaking, digital MP3 music is now outselling the physical CDs and vinyls and records and what that we're used to. As an artist, how do you feel about the fact of this digital media outselling that physical stuff?
Well, just, learn you got to adapt with the times pretty much, and I've tried to follow suit with that. I was maybe a little behind on getting an iPod and doing that, but eventually it made sense because instead of having to carry around 50 CDs when I'm on a road trip, I can take 2,000 CDs in my little iPod. But I kind of understand it, it's just convenient and easy. But growing up, like I said, when I did on vinyl and albums and then 8-tracks and cassettes and CDs, I still like to have a physical copy if I can get it,
Yeah, it's still, I noticed the vinyls are starting to make a comeback more than ever.
Yeah, that's cool for me, like I said, growing up in that era and at Housecore, they release everything we've done and what's coming out so far. In the future, it's all coming out on vinyl, too, so that's really cool to have a copy of your own album on everything like that,
Now,
there's a lot of collectors that like vinyl.
Now, the band has done some serious touring in the past. Are there any crowds that you and the guys still talk about in terms of intensity?
Yeah, of course, we were excited to play in, like, New York City. That's always a good experience. And, recently we played there with down in St. Vitus, so that was one of the best shows we still talk about. And then Chicago, every time we go through there, they just always got a wild pit going, so we definitely remember that. It's fun in, a lot of the major cities, but then you'll never know when you're somewhere and just out of nowhere, it's like, wow, what a crowd that was. It could be in Portland or anywhere. Naturally, us going to Europe recently for our first tour, we're still kind of freaking out on playing in front of the European fans and stuff. It's all good, man. We haven't really had any shows that we were, disappointed in. Sometimes the crowd maybe don't like us as much in some places,
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell sometimes. Sometimes they might like you. They're just not going as crazy during the show. They maybe just standing there not familiar with us and checking us out,
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll come up later and say, hey, y'all were great. And it's just the style of the crowd. You can't really always read them,
Mm-hmm.
by, just who's making the biggest pit or whatever. But it's always good, man.
Mm-hmm. No, your band members and yourself, your resume combined is extremely impressive with a collection of metal experience that includes Rigor Mortis, Gamicide, and Demon Speed, just to mention a few. Do you think having that amount of experience amongst you and all the guys has helped you guys get to where you are as a band today?
Yeah, it pretty much has helped us. Of course, like you said, the experience factor, plus just, the Rigor Mortis thing has helped quite a bit for Warbeast, because it's, I had a lot of connections from my Rigor Mortis years, and it's kind of like the Rigor Mortis tour with Arson Anthem as, what led to us getting in touch with Phil again, and leading to us getting signed, and little things like that, Rigor Mortis fans, that's how, they found out about Warbeast. So it's helped in many ways, like you mentioned, the experience, but just, the fact that people might know who I am from Rigor. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the guys from Gamicide and Demon Speed. They want to know, hey, they're in another band called Warbeast, so let's check that out too.
Mm-hmm. Now, your next album, Destroy, is due out next month on Housecore Records. How is the new album going to be in comparison to 2010's face-crushing album, Crush the Enemy?
Well, I think the split, the War of the Gargantua split with 2 of our songs and 2 Philip Anselmo solo songs, that's coming out January 11th. Make that January 8th or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the full-length album, Destroy, you're talking about, we don't have a real set release date, but we think it's February or March.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all right. I just wanted to, because,
yeah,
we got 2 releases coming next year. The split's coming first, and then not too long after we're putting out the full length. The difference is, we've been together longer. We kind of got our chemistry better. We work together better as far as the writing process. And, those first songs on Crush the Enemy were songs we played for years live, and we had them memorized and down, and went into the studio with this new album. We kind of wrote it, and we're just finishing final songs as we went into the studio. We never actually played them live as a band, so we went in and created an album and made changes even during the recording. So after the studio was finished, part was finished, we had to come back and learn our album, to be able to play them live. But we've made some member changes. We replaced Rick Perry with Bobby Tillotson, and recently we replaced our bassist Alan Beauvais with Dre Carr. So
how's that coming along? Is they gelling in really good?
Yeah, they come in and fit real good. But
good.
So what happened was, like, Rick was a big part of the writing on the first album, like with half of the guitar parts he wrote, and he helped with the lyrics too. So on this album, Scott Shelby pretty much wrote all the music, and I pretty much wrote all the lyrics, and we kind of have never done that before, and we pushed ourselves to new levels, and I think we're proud of it. So I don't know. I just think, we just evolved and got better, and what we want to be now. And like every band says, this new album is better than the last, but that's what I'm going to say too, but I really deep down believe it.
Now, speaking of War of the Gargantuans, which, as you mentioned, has 2 tracks from both Warbeast and Down, who and where did you guys come up with this great idea? Like, I've never heard of it, with, a simulcast release between 2 bands.
Yeah, and that's Philip Anselmo for you. And actually, it's not Down, it's a solo album, which is even more exciting because, Phil doing a solo album, and he wrote everything for it, so it's more extreme metal. It's more of a thrashy, extreme kind of metal. And it was Phil's idea, it wasn't long after Crush the Enemy was out, and he had the idea to write a solo album. And he said, this is what we should do is, before our full length come out, put out this as a little sample for everyone and get the buzz going for both albums. And we're talking, this was like 2.5 years ago, and he was still writing, like I said. So we went down there over 2 years ago and recorded these 2 songs for this split. And then it was, we were ready with our part and with no time frame, just a matter of when Phil finished writing and got the musicians to play on his album. And then now it's finally happening, but see, that's a good thing. Phil thought way in advance on this, So
yeah, it's the first time he's done a solo album.
I know, and it should be should be good. And what a good thing for Warbeast, obviously, is most people are going to want to buy this to hear Phil's new solo album, but then they get 2 Warbeast songs too, So hopefully they'll check us out when they buy the split, and maybe more people will know about us, like it, and then we're hoping that'll make them want to buy the full length, which will come out a couple of months afterwards.
Now,
and that was part of Phil's thinking too. It was just another good way to get more people into Warbeast.
Yeah, he sounds like he's very, very creative as a as a label, as a owner and founder of a label. He's running that label. He seems to be very creative.
Yeah, he is. And like I said, an idea like this just pops in his head. It's something thinking well in advance, and he just got a million ideas, and it's fun to work with.
As we mentioned earlier, starting in 2013, you're starting 2013 off on the right foot and getting right on the road. What can the fans who missed you in your previous tours, what can they expect from your tour in 2013?
Well, we're still breaking out more of the new material, so that's the fun part for us. Is now we got more songs to choose from. But we're so proud of the new material and the songs from the split. You're going to get the songs from the split, and more than half of the songs from the upcoming album. And just the fact that we've been on the road so much that we just seem to be gelling more as a band live. Direct support for Down, how can you beat that,
Absolutely.
So I just think our shows are getting better live. We're getting better set list, and it's pretty much you're going to get Warbeast at our best.
Well, finally, is there anything you yourself want to convey to our listeners?
Well, there's so much cool things happening for Warbeast that I can't really announce yet, but I just hope they'll keep in touch with us, and but through stations like yours and on our official website, warbeast.org, and find us on Facebook. Should be a really good year coming up for Warbeast in 2013. Like I said, 2 releases, starting out with a good tour for Down, and a few other things that I wish I could mention now, but we should be able to
stay tuned, right?
Yeah, there you go. So stay tuned, man.
Do you guys have a Twitter account?
Just personal ones. I haven't really started just an actual Warbeast page yet, but I know a couple of the members are on there. But yeah, they can find us on there, Facebook, MySpace, if anyone even goes there anymore. And of course, like I said, official website too. But
perfect. Well, thanks again, Bruce. Thanks for taking the time to answer all those questions for us, and good luck with the release in 2013, and good luck with that tour coming up in 2013 as well.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, Stan, and it was good talking to you, brother.
Yes, thank you.
This is Broken Neck Radio. Metal that makes you wanna break shit.